Hello, everyone. We're so glad that you have decided to join us for our top 20% mastermind today. Promise you it's going to be a great one. And Shaun, I want to do something a little different to get us started today. I haven't tried this yet, but I'm all about embracing AI and using different technologies and things like that. So we're going to try something out really quick. If you haven't seen the video yet on OpenAI about what ChatGPT can do, it's pretty freaking incredible. There's now this voice assistant that you have on your phone where if you hit the button, you can actually talk to an assistant. So I'm actually going to have ChatGPT introduce Shaun to y'all today by asking it, who is Shaun Rawls? And then we're going to go ahead and get started. So bear with me a second. I haven't done this yet. And here we go.
Right, Scott.
Who is Shaun Rawls?
Shaun Rawls is a well-known figure in the real estate industry. He is the founder and CEO of Rawls Consulting, a company that provides leadership training, coaching, and consulting services. Before founding his consulting firm, Shaun Rawls was the operating partner of Keller Williams Realty's Rawls Group, one of the top-performing Keller Williams franchises in the world. He is also an author and speaker, sharing his insights on leadership, real estate, and personal development.
That's crazy.
Right?
That's crazy.
Yeah, it did that completely on its own. That was not a real person talking. That was completely artificial intelligence generated by everything that it could find and put together in a unique introduction about who you are for us today.
I actually like that you're keeping that on the forefront of everybody's mind, because I think it's making people more comfortable with it, and I think it seems like every day or every week we learn that there's more stuff that it can do.
Well, and here's the other thing, Shaun. Mark did a great job in our team meeting in Fort Lauderdale today by highlighting the fact that you no longer have an excuse to say, I don't have a role play partner. That can be your role play partner. All you have to do is just hop on there and say, hey, I need a role play partner. I'm in real estate, and here's some of the challenges I'm up against right now. Be my role play partner, and it will give you objections. And then you can ask it, how did I do with this objection? And it will tell you how it thinks you did with that objection.
You can, and you can tell it how difficult you want it to be with you, right? So if you can be an easy prospecting partner, or you can be just an absolute hell no role play partner.
Yeah.
It'll be whatever persona you want to give it.
Correct. Hey, I mean, you could even say, be the rudest for sale by owner possible on the other end of the line, and give me every single objection that you could possibly think of that a rude for sale by owner would give you.
I'll tell you guys a funny story. My son is my youngest son, Steele, is 19, and he's home for the summer, and he's finished his continuing ed, and he's diving into real estate. He's prospecting. He's found one of our guys in our office is a prospector, so he's prospecting. And we were talking about scripts and all kinds of stuff. And there's a house that's about 4 doors down and across the street from the house that we live in now. And I told him this story. I was like, this is a funny, I made this story famous. I taught it all over the country for Keller Williams and like listing clinics and whatnot. But I was like 23 or 4 years old, and it was this house across the street was the most expensive listing I'd ever been on. It was $1.6 million something at the time, and that was in 1994, I think. And the guy who owned it was a complete redneck. Like, he was like from Alabama. He made his money. He had a trash company, a trash collection company that was a small time gig, and he got bought out by Waste Management. So he won the lottery. And he was like a big Auburn donor, but he had a Smurf collection in his formal living room, just to give you an idea of the class that this guy exuded.
We're talking Larry the Cable Guy.
Yes, actually very close to Larry the Cable Guy. This guy drove around in a Rolls Royce with his dogs, and just, he smoked a cigar and he wore, I mean, he was not attractive and very heavy set. And so I'm on a listing presentation with him, and you know, he's got this office in this house, and it's this like blood red carpet, hand carved desk, giant leather chair, all this paraphernalia for Auburn University around that I'm sure he gave money to. And then there's like basically a little stool in front of the desk, right, that you sit on at the foot of the master. And so I was sitting on this little stool, and I was, you know, I was like 23, I was 23, 24 years old. And I had my, you know, I'd prepared like crazy for this listing presentation. I mean, I memorized my scripts. I was ready. I had my notebook out. I was 1, 2, 3. Can I cuss on this? Is that, can I
Yeah,
like,
you got permission.
is the F word okay? There's a lot of F word coming up, just so you know.
Go for it.
But this is a story I'm telling my son. It is really, and it's, you'll all appreciate this. So like I'm doing my script, I do this, and then I do this, and then I do this. And this guy says, he looks at me and he says, can you just hold on a minute? Can you just hold on a minute? Here's what I want to know. And he says, I want to know. And at the time, the luxury real estate company in Atlanta that was #1 since 1950 was a company called Harry Norman Realtors. Okay. So he says, here's what I want to know. I want to know what you're going to say when some fat fucking Harry Norman agent drives up in her fat fucking Mercedes and says, I don't like the fucking drapes. And I'm like, I think I started sweating profusely, right? Like I'm just like, this was not in any script.
Yeah.
or I would this. I mean, I don't even know what to do, right? So I took a deep breath and I closed my notebook and I looked at him and I said, well, Billy, I guess I'd have to say, I need you to get your fat fucking ass back in your fat fucking Mercedes and get the fuck off the property because we're not selling the fucking drapes. And he looked at me and he said, I like you. And I got the biggest listing of my career by matching and mirroring a client.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, my 19-year-old thought it was pretty funny.
So the moral of the story is you aren't selling the fucking drapes.
You're not selling the drapes. But I'm telling you, it's just, we get so caught up in this stuff and we take things so seriously. And at the end of the day, it's really about connecting with people. And it's just, it just, and connecting at their level, by the way.
Yeah.
And I'm sure this guy had a lot more successful real estate agents sit across that table than I was, but probably nobody was willing or stupid enough to go where I went with it. But I got the listing.
Did you sell it?
And if you want to know how that ended, we were negotiating the purchase and sale of it. And he was trying to get 60 days. We'd agreed on everything except occupancy. And he wanted 60 days in the house rent free after he sold it. And as we're negotiating it, he had the audacity to die.
Oh, gosh.
So I never sold it. But it was a great it's been a great story. And I literally have told that story all over the country.
Oh, my goodness. Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's my opening for today, everyone. That's my opening. It only goes downhill from there.
So what are we going to talk about today, Shaun?
I want to talk a lot about leads and motivation of leads, specifically motivation of leads. So let's kind of talk a little bit about. I'm going to share a screen and write some notes and stuff along the way if I can.
Yep, you can.
I don't need to right now, but tell me what's going on with you guys first before we get into discussing what are you noticing about the market? What are your ahas right now as top producing real estate agents?
Bless you, Alex.
You might have to unmute yourself to talk, I guess, but I want to know what your ahas are right now. What are you learning?
only the best priced, best looking homes are selling.
Right. It's I used to say it's real estate's interesting. You're in a price war and a beauty contest at the same time. And if you can win both, you're going to have no problems at all. But yes, I agree with you completely. What else are you noticing?
I'll piggyback on the Chat GPT opener. In speaking with folks, there's a lot of information out there, and we've got to bring the value because people think they know everything already. So you really got to come with, how are we going to add value in all of this?
Well, and I think also I think that's our opportunity, Jessica. Where a lot of people are worried about what these changes are going to do. I think at the end of the day, when we look back on it, after we get over the initial wobbly period, I think when we look back on it, we are going to see that for good agents, this actually was a good thing. For agents that aren't as well heeled or well rooted or as experienced, it's going to be a lot harder for that, which means for those of you on our ALC, we really have to make sure that we are teaching the basics of blocking and tackling in our market centers, because we really need to help our newer agents get rooted so that they can get into production and start creating a resume of value for themselves. But I think for the good agents, the successful agents, I think it's going to be so much easier for you guys to separate yourself from the pack in an industry. And I would embrace that. I would, if you've got a mindset that's at all fearful or negative about this, just try on for size, thinking about it very optimistically for you, because if there's an upside for anyone, it's definitely for the people on this call. In anybody of your caliber, just so you know.
Scott, I've got one, and it kind of piggybacks on something you said with your opening story that's been working for me lately. It has to do with asking questions in the rapport building phase, but not in an interview format or interrogation, but just kind of conversation, even though it's very intentional. And the key is for me lately, at all kinds of different price ranges, was to simply join the conversation they were already having in their head. And you don't even necessarily have to list out all of your expertise. If you start speaking and joining the way that they are speaking in their own head to themselves, they instantly will assign expert status to you if you're in agreement. And even if you're not in agreement in price, just kind of leading and nudging them by already knowing what they're thinking in advance. It makes it much easier for us to lead them, or at least for me lately, to pricing homes. Because if you price the house correctly, it'll still sell in 2 weeks at any price range. At least for me in the last couple of months anyway. That's been kind of the key, is taking an expired listing and just repricing, rebranding, driving the comps, and already knowing what they were already kind of suspecting in their head as to why it hadn't sold.
I think it's a really good point. And I think I'm married to somebody who is probably one of the best question askers I've ever known in my life. And so there's lots of opportunities for me to realize how shallow I go in conversations for the sake of moving forward. And I think you're dead on, Tim. It is, I think particularly when we get in these consultations where it's a prospecting call or it's a listing conversation or a buyer conversation, I think it's really about slowing down. And if there's any information that they have that would help them to go deeper on, instead of moving forward, just start mining where you are before you move forward. And mining it, I just mean, try to make yourself ask more questions than you're comfortable asking. Because I think those of us that are probably really good at sales, we're really good at ending things with a period. We're not as good as ending things with a question mark. And try to be aware of your desire to make statements versus asking questions, and try to just get better at asking more questions, because what you'll find is there's a lot more connectivity that takes place with question marks than periods. Who else has an aha?
Scott, you took yourself off of mute. Did you have something?
No, I did not. Sorry.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, well, let's talk a little bit about leads, the way I want to chat about it. I'm going to go share. All right. Here's what I want to do. Talk to me about lead sources first. Where are you getting your lead? When you think about the transactions that you've done this year, and certainly in the last several months, what are the sources of the leads that you can attach your business to? Somebody said referrals. I don't have my screen on, so I'd rather you speak up.
Luxury expireds. Referrals, agent to agent referrals, past repeat clients, and circle prospecting, open houses.
We've also got Sphere, past clients.
We also have a CRM that's very, very good, and that's where I've gotten a lot of my
Paid internet.
clients from, right? And repeat clients as well, and referrals, agent referrals.
For me, it's been natural conversations with everybody that I meet. I figure out a way to slide into the conversation that I'm an expert in real estate. That's been the number one source lately, to be honest. Just people you wouldn't even know, but just figure out a way to slide in the conversation that you do real estate.
And is that random conversations, or is that targeted conversations like over a cup of coffee?
It's just everybody I meet, everyone that I'm hanging out with, everyone that they introduce me to. I tell Michelle, she doesn't like this every time, but I say, I've got to go down to the pool or the beach bar because I need to go prospect. And she thinks I'm kidding around, which I am, but you just run into people, and every conversation, that's the purpose, is I figure out how to slide into it, that I do real estate.
Fantastic.
I agree with that. It's the conversations, which are so important, that you've been discussing since day one, you and Scott.
Yep.
Networking events just happen to, there's somebody there that whatever. You're having a value conversation and answering the questions still about what's going on. I hear this, the other, about buyers and all that. So it's being knowledgeable in what you have to say and how you say it. I think that's number one. Number two, for me, it's been client referrals. Just so happened I got 3 in 1 week from one building. So it's things like that are starting to percolate again. But I think it's our conversations, just like you said, it all comes down to what comes out of your mouth.
I agree. So we got referrals, luxury expireds, repeat clients, sphere of influence, past clients, CRM, agent referrals, conversation, random and targeted, anyone and everyone, networking events. What else?
Farming for me as well, as
Yeah.
brought me some clients.
Of course.
My neighborhood.
Got it. Farming.
Bisbo. And then
Bisbo.
just listed, just sold postcards too.
Postcards. Anybody got social media?
What about circle prospecting?
I love circle prospecting.
Yeah, Tara, I think had said circle prospect.
Oh, I might not have written that down. Sorry, Tara, if you said that.
Okay. Okay.
Open house.
Open houses, yes.
How about a vendor referral?
Vendor referral. Okay. Pretty good list.
Investors.
Investors.
One more here that goes along with investors for me lately has been developers.
Yes.
And I mean, kind of like tear down developers
Yep.
where it's nice areas. There's a lot of tear down and redevelopment happening in certain areas.
I love it. Yeah, Atlanta has lived through a lot of that and still is. And it's, I don't think people realize that they probably live in a teardown. Like people think of a teardown as a dilapidated old house or whatever. You just could be living in a house that was built in 1992 and it's perfectly fine, but it's going to get torn down because nobody wants to live in that kind of house anymore.
Yeah, and that those developers tend to be doing a lot of them. And so they're always looking for additional properties that fit their criteria.
Yep. All right.
Shaun,
So
Frankie also has online leads in the chat.
who does?
Frankie.
Frankie, online leads. Thank you, Frankie. All right. So now, if this is an onion, I want to peel it back. And I think everything that we just came up with as a list tends to be a target for real estate agents for lead generation, right? People go in these different compartments to find leads or to scratch an itch that might create a lead, and fish in a farming pond or a sphere of influence pond or an agent referral pond or a prospecting pond or an expired pond. That's kind of the and everybody, depending on what you are, you've got your favorite areas, I mean, your favorite ponds to go fishing in, and it's usually a comfort food for you and something you're happy doing, and it doesn't require much stress. It just requires doing it and being consistent with it. So I want to peel this back again, and now I want to stay focused on the transactions that you've had this year. And now what I want you to tell me is, of all the transactions that you've been a part of, I want to know what was the motivation for them to buy or sell real estate.
Shaun, I've got a couple,
Great.
but it's usually kind of the big three or big four, right? Downsize, upsize.
Yep.
Right. Relocation of area.
What's that?
Relocation of area.
Reload.
Yeah.
HOA getting too expensive.
Yeah.
Yes.
Following the grandkids.
Death, divorce, disease, diamonds, diapers, deployment.
Retirement or relocation.
I call it the 7 Ds: debt, divorce, disease, diamonds, doggies, deployment. And death and debt are separate, obviously. Death, divorce, disease, diamonds, doggies, deployment, diamonds, diapers, deployment.
Diapers.
Okay.
Got babies.
Yeah. What else? Investment. Somebody, Michael Weisberg just said, yeah. What else?
Closer to work, moving closer to work has been pretty popular lately.
We're seeing a lot of military here in the Keys right now, moving around. So I guess that would go under deployment.
Yeah. We missing anything?
I've got one, Sean, which is something that Jessica and I have been kind of working on over the last kind of 2 years.
Yep.
Just helping people going from 2-story to 1-story.
Financial.
I see a lot of people who are were investing in Airbnbs and are now have decided that those Airbnbs are not as lucrative as they used to.
Nice, nice.
And so they're selling those off.
My neighborhood and Wilton Manors are littered with those.
Crazy. Crazy.
Schools also.
Airbnbs no more, right?
Airbnb no more.
That's great. So here's what I want to truthfully, this is the aha that I want to get out of this call and have your mind start really figuring out how to get there. And that is, instead of focusing on these, we need to figure out how to be driving our messages in our advertising to these. And the one thing that I'm seeing consistently insufficient in terms of effort is video. And I'm watching some top agents around the country who are really good at video and just talking about it. They didn't start out great or whatever it was, but they just started talking about it and they started realizing that it works. And I think we need to figure out, I'm going to go back to a camera, go back here. I think we need to figure out, how do we start stepping in the way? Because by the time somebody comes in an open house, right? And you meet them, or the time that they're referred to you, but way before they raise their hand and kind of get into motion, they're thinking about something, right? And some people think about it for a long time. Some people think it for a short time. How many times have you had something on your mind and you see a commercial or something comes your way or something on Facebook, and the next thing you know, it's like, oh my God, I've been thinking about that. That's my sign. I need to do it, right? Whatever that looks like. We've all had situations like that. We need to be that sign for the people that are sitting on their couch watching Netflix, but in the back of their mind thinking, I wonder if we should be in a smaller house. I wonder if we should go from crawling up these stairs is such a pain in the ass for me, Michael. That's a great idea. Like maybe they're not even qualifying it, but they're just thinking, man, going up these stairs every day is getting to be a pain in the ass. I'm 68 years old and it's not as easy as it used to be, or whatever it is. But if there's not an interruption that comes in and says, hey, what you're thinking about, I do. And in my opinion, the best way for us to kind of step in and be that person is on social media, and specifically with video. And everybody's objection to video is, I don't like the way I look and I don't like the way I sound on video. Well, I've got news for you. That's the way you look and that's the way you sound. Okay. So
get used to it. Deal with it.
Just deal with it, right? Just deal with it. So, so the goal is, you don't have to produce these things. You don't have to hire a company to come do your video. If you end up with 1 million followers because you start doing this and you want to take it up a notch, that's fine. But I'm talking, turn your freaking cell phone on, sitting behind the driving wheel of your car as soon as you get out of an appointment, and download something in 30 seconds or less that gets people to think. So what I mean by this is that list that we just wrote out, this list, if you're looking at this list, these are videos for you to do. And you can do these in any random order. You can do them in areas that you're passionate about. But if we know, we've got a lot of smart, successful people on this call. And what you guys have said is, these are the reasons people were motivated to buy and sell real estate most recently. And most of these are pretty much traditional motivating answers for buying and selling regardless of market conditions. So what you need to do, in my opinion, is you need to up your video game, because with one video, we can shoot one bullet and hit thousands of people without having a conversation. We can create the motivation to have another one-on-one conversation. We could send out a video that says, hey, I want to talk to you guys about downsizing. Downsizing is something that's happening a lot in my business right now. I don't know what's changing in the universe, but other than just my people are getting older, or their kids are moving out, or they're just in that genre. But downsizing, people trading down to a smaller house, is really a popular thing that's going on in our business right now. If you've been thinking about going from a larger house to a smaller house, there's a lot of things that you need to be aware of in doing that. Some people forget about some things. Some people don't realize some things that might be an issue. And I've helped so many people go from a larger house to the smaller house that I can help you analyze that and determine whether that's something that's truly right for you or not. And that's
Shaun,
yeah.
I want to stick on this video thing for a second, because I don't think people truly understand how powerful it is. Stop sharing your screen for just a second, because I want to share mine.
Oh, I forgot I was sharing. Thank you.
Okay, no, you're good.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you have a calculator with you, Shaun?
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to do an exercise with you really quick to show you guys how powerful video is, because it allows you to connect with people in a way that you could never actually connect with people. So I'm going to share my screen here. Give me 1 second to find the right one. All right. So this is my YouTube analytics, but I want to go to lifetime here.
Cool.
Lifetime, I've had 372,000 views. But forget about that. Let's focus on the number of hours that people have watched my content. Go ahead and, Shaun, type in 792,000 hours in your calculator.
Got it.
Divide that by 24 days.
Okay.
No, not 24 days, 24 hours.
Well, divided by 24 is 33,000.
33,000. Now divide that by 365 days.
That's 90 hours.
That's 90 years.
90 years.
So I'm 37 years old, but the total amount of time people have watched content that I've created is equal to 90 years of it running 24 hours a day. This is why video is so important, because you couldn't possibly ever get in front of that many people on your own, even if you work 24 hours a day.
No, you couldn't.
Video allows you to be working 24 hours a day and catch those people when they need you the most. And that's what I don't want you to forget about this. What Shaun is talking about right here. If you make those quick little videos, 1, maybe 2 minutes at the most, shoot, they could be 30 seconds. But those add up over time, and they're making an impact and an influence on people who are searching for those things when they need it. And guess who shows up? You do. You're meeting where they are when they need you.
Can you go back to your screen again?
Yeah.
So if you go on your YouTube channel and you look at this, the other thing that's interesting, like where is it? Where can they look at everything, like see everything you've done?
Yeah, so all I have to do is go over here to content.
All right, so this is cool because what happens is if you do all these videos the way I'm talking about, you're going to build a list like this in your YouTube channel, and basically this is a resume. The way I look at it, this is everything that you're qualified to tell somebody about or excited to tell somebody about as it pertains to real estate.
Yep.
And granted, if you don't do video, you don't really have a resume yet, but the faster you do these and the more often you do them, the more of a resume you're going to build. So when somebody goes there and they like what you have to say, they can go look at more of what you've said and play around with it. Ultimately, this is what's going to create the idea in these people's minds that you have more value than anybody else. And Jessica, where you're saying that right now it's about providing value, I think the easiest way for you to put your value on display for the masses is to advertise to your social media database, whoever that is. And here's the beauty of it. It's free. Like we could, in the old days, you go to cable TV, you try to get some demographics nailed down, you try to set up a commercial in between a show at the right time, to the right people in the right area with the right income, and you try to get that, and you spend thousands of dollars trying to get a message out. And right now, we have the ability to do this for free and to completely advertise to everybody we have a connection with. And the beautiful thing about it is let's say my downsizing video lands and somebody says, oh, that's interesting. I'm not interested in downsizing, right? But the best thing that could happen is they say, but you know what? My friend Tabitha was just talking about the need to do this the other day, and I'm going to send it to her. And I'm going to forward this video to her and say, hey, here's my realtor. He just did a video on what you and I were talking about at lunch last week. Check it out and let me know. If you'd like me to introduce him, I will. And you're now into a whole nother ring of introductions and people that you don't, that far exceed your reach on your own.
Shaun, it's not just free. They'll actually pay you to do it. This month, I made $108 just from doing things that I'm doing anyways on YouTube.
There you go.
On Facebook, because Meta is wanting to get into this game right now, they'll actually give people who consistently post videos for, I think it's 30 days in a row, that you qualify to get into this creator fund where you can get bonuses from Meta of up to $30,000 over the next 12 months just for creating content that you would be creating anyways.
That's unbelievable. That's not hot for me. I didn't know that. That's great. So have you guys seen with all this stuff with NAR, with all these settlement, how people have come out with all the little lists of the values you provide to sellers and the values you provide to buyers? Has everybody seen those?
Yeah.
Look at each of those as a video. Instead of giving a list and saying, this is all the things I do for buyers and sellers. If we take the list of motivating factors and we take the list of the values that we offer, the value we offer to people in the business, I mean, just those two sources alone, you've got like 90 to 100 days of video every day for the next 90 to 100 days, easily, just on those two sources. The screen we just came up with and these lists of value things that you guys provide to buyers and sellers. Super short video, super easy, not produced. And the way you do them is you sit down and say, y'all, I just left an appointment and this is what the buyer was concerned about. I just negotiated a transaction and this is what I help my buyers achieve. I just closed on a house. This seller was a nightmare. And this is, but I was able to like work through this and get this done. It's just experiences that you can share. You're not rattling off a list. You're not talking down to anyone. You're just saying, hey, I've just got in my car. I just had to share. This is what happened in this transaction that I think is important for people to know, because it could happen to anybody if you're not careful. And what we learned, or this is how we got to closing. This is what we had to overcome. This is the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life happen in real estate. And it happened to me yesterday. I mean, whatever it is, put it on video, and put it on video shortly, but mine for these motivations.
Yeah, and here's the other thing that will help you with in the future. Let's say that you're in one of those situations that is tense with one of your clients. You can reference back to a video that you created 6, 8, 9 months ago and send it to them and be like, hey, I've been in a situation similar to this before. You're not on your own. Watch this quick video.
Right.
Can I add something to that, Shaun?
Yes, please.
I've been using video a lot for years, and there's different purposes for the video too. So if you understand the purpose of your video and who your target is, it will help a lot with kind of knowing what to create. Where there's lead gen videos, that's kind of one category, and those you target to those various groups. And you can use stories because stories sell. People remember and think in terms of stories, but there's also the power of pre-selling. Let's say you set an appointment, but you're competing and expired. You may have 4 other agents you're competing with. A little 2-minute pre-sell video that kind of lays out your pitch in a very succinct way. That I've listed more properties over the phone this year than I actually have in the going to presentations. And it's because of that 3-minute pre-sell video that they call back, okay, send over the paperwork, and they don't want to bother with the actual appointment, and it's just over the phone. But pre-selling is super important. And then video in the actual presentation itself, listing the value stack, price drops, all that kind of stuff, is super powerful, way more than just the old, like just a live presentation. Remember the old flip books and stuff like that, where I'll actually sit with them and have them watch me on a video, laying out all of the stuff, showing the video walkthroughs, 3D dollhouse, all this stuff through video. And it kind of raises your expertise level, but also back to joining the conversation in their head. A lot of times people don't list with us because of some unsaid thing where they're like, okay, maybe I know you're the right person for me, but I can't do it because of maybe I don't think I can, get the house ready, or whatever their hidden objections might be to not moving forward, or the market, or whatever. Video can actually pre-cover those objections before they're made, so that it kind of knocks down all those dominoes. But video is probably the most effective thing I've ever used as far as being able to do that. And it allows me to list properties over the phone.
Well, it also allows you to have probably the most consistent message out in a critical part of your business, where you're not leaving it to chance. It doesn't depend on the mood you're in. It doesn't depend on the seller and their behavior profile. You're completely offensively playing presentation to do it exactly the way you want to do it, and
It's
deliver
consistent
it every single time.
The input's the same, the output's the same. It's a consistent result you can expect, at least, instead of delivering the presentation different every time, or forgetting to say this or that. Same thing with pricing. I have another video that I use. It's not my video, but it's called Pricing Your Home to Sell. And during the listing presentation, I watch that with them also, because it covers basically all of the wacky things you're going to hear a seller say to misprice their home. It covers each one of those before you even get to going over the CMA. So it prevents them from overpricing, just because we just covered that. We just covered how to be an expert in pricing. I tell them, when you watch this video, it's going to make you more of an expert in pricing houses to sell than 90% of the agents out there. And what it's really doing is it's knocking down objections they're about to give me before I even go over the pricing.
Well, at that point, if they have one of those objections and they were going to bring it up, they'd feel like an idiot at this point bringing it up. So they're probably not.
Yeah, and if anyone wants to, the source of that, I use David Knox. I'm speaking of video on my YouTube channel, Agent to Agent.
I dropped it in the chat, Tim.
I have a video about this one from David Knox, pricing your home to sell for other agents. But it's very effective in just getting the property priced correctly.
I think that's brilliant. I think it's absolutely brilliant. And I love that you're sharing it and making it available for people to take a peek at, because
it's one of those value adds in my value stack. When I'm giving an initial pitch, it's like, okay, when you list with me tonight, you're going to get this, you're going to get this, and it's a free bonus for setting an appointment with me. I'm going to send you my book, How to Trigger an Impulse Buy. You're going to get pricing your home to sell. That's a $20 value. You're going to get this and this. And these are all little things that you can just list out as part of your unique value proposition. And this video is one of them, both in my online presence and in the actual pitch that I'm giving them in my video as a bonus, even though it is for their benefit, but it's for my benefit too, to be able to price the property correctly. But they see it as like, wow, I'm getting this whole extra thing.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Is pricing becoming is pricing more of an issue for you guys that are listing property right now?
Not when you price it right.
Same
Robert,
as it's always been.
Robert, you raised your hand.
I was having a conversation with one of our colleagues, and she might even be here. And she's like, we were commiserating on similar listings in a similar neighborhood. And we're both like, how did we get it so wrong? Because both of us have had a great year listing. Nothing has sold. So we are not getting it right.
What can I ask you what price you're at?
In Wilton Manors, I am admittedly overpriced at $1,650,000, and it really probably should be $1,450,000. But that's a seller who's like, sell it at my price or hold it forever, and he gonna hold it forever. Stubborn. A duplex, 2 units, a 2-bedroom and a 1-bedroom in Oakland Park, good neighborhood, was $650,000, now it's $600,000. She's got one that's the same. Just listed in Coral Springs, but that one's getting showings even while it's coming soon. So I think that one's gonna pop. We got the season right and we got the price right.
I'm kind of old school in my pricing, and I'm still, I do get surprised by seeing some of the prices that people have on properties out there, because I still believe that people search. And when you go to the MLS system, I think you search in round numbers. Like, I think you search from 750 to $1 million, $1 million to $1,250,000, and $1,250,000 to $1,500,000, and $1,500,000 to $2 million. And when you're outside of those price points on the north end, you're not going to sell, because you're getting shown along with other properties that are more expensive that are in a price range, and they're going to choose the better product. You've got to be the best thing that somebody sees in a price point. If you're not the best thing that somebody sees in a price point, we're going to either use our price to sell other people's houses, or we're going to use other people's prices to sell ours.
My high price justifies the purchase of someplace else. That's
exactly right.
Yeah, the feedback. We bought something else.
That's exactly right.
Rocket science.
So it's not that you didn't sell. It's not like you didn't sell a house. You just didn't sell the house that you want. You helped sell the other ones.
Shaun, you told me that pricing strategy a long time ago, and I list my prices exactly how you taught me. And you should see the light bulb that goes off in a seller's head when you explain the round thing, and it not being Walmart pricing. We're talking about round numbers, because that's how people search. And if you listed it for $499, anybody who's searching 500 to the next bracket is not going to see your. And
you're never going to. Yeah, it's amazing. It's like search up to search if $599.9. You just for $100 you excluded yourself from fishing out of 2 ponds. At 609,000, you're $9,000 away from being in the price bracket where you're actually going to sell.
And they'll be invisible to their correct buyers.
That is correct. That is
Shaun, I have an experience that I have with a current listing that I wanted to share. It was kind of an aha over weeks of having this listing. It's a $450,000 house, which here you would consider, under $500,000, a great starter home and a great opportunity. It was previously under contract, buyer defaulted, and we're under contract again moving forward. However, I had over 100 showings on this house, and I would guess because of the price range. However, I had such difficulty getting any sort of feedback as to what might have been good or bad about the house. There were some specifics, and then you could tell that they thought about it. But other than that, my only thought was, with so many showings, is that the buyers aren't being served properly by either the agent or the lender in clearly showing them what the cost is nowadays to buy a home like that. They may see something under $500,000 and say, bingo, I could do this. However, they're like stuck with uncertainty with regard to what that actual cost is with current interest rates or otherwise, which yields to the need to so qualify your buyers before you bring them out. Because I'm guessing out of these 100 people, probably 80% probably had no clue what they were looking at, shouldn't even be in that price range, and were just basically taking their buyer's agent out or themselves out on a little joyride and a drive-by just to kind of visit some homes that they had no business.
So Scott, so here's what I'm going to challenge you with. When we're done with this mastermind, I want you to go and make the video of what you just said. That is a perfect example of somebody's going to see this video, and this guy's going to be telling me that I just had a listing and I had 100 showings, and I would guess that 70 to 80% of the people that came through the house had no idea what the cost of owning a home at this price point were going to be, which means that they're working with people who are giving them poor representation. And if you're thinking about buying and you want to know what's involved and you don't want to waste your time and you want to be able to look at something you can actually afford and it's going to give you a heart attack, call me. Have somebody call me. If you know somebody that's thinking about it, don't let them get steered wrong. Don't let them get in a position where they're going to look at stuff that they're never going to be able to understand or afford. I will make sure you understand everything about this, and that's it. And post that video. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Yep. You guys are loaded. You are loaded guns with experiences and stories that demonstrate A, you're friggin' smart, B, you're a badass, and C, you're somebody that could protect me as a client of yours, and you're a good human being. And if you can convey all those things in a video in 30 seconds or less, and you do that consistently, and I mean consistently, like 4 to 7 times a week consistently. If you do that consistently, you're going to make the biggest impact in your business quickly. And I bet in the next, if you posted video every day for the next 30 days, and you had you did what Scott just did, we're talking about hitting these motivations. My guess is you're going to have a back half of this year that's going to surprise you with activity and numbers.
It's so true. And you will surprise yourself at how comfortable you end up becoming doing it.
And Scott, you just shared a brilliant story that benefits nobody on this call unless they want to steal it and do it for themselves.
Yep.
Like, you've got an entire audience of people that would watch that video and pass it along, because anybody that knows Scott Bagoon knows you're a freaking great human being, and you happen to be in the real estate business, and you happen to be somebody that I'm in his database and I would work with if I was buying or selling, right? I mean, that's who. Don't save these stories for audiences that don't benefit you. I mean, we're here to share, but my point is that message that you just said needs to be all out to the people that are in your database, in your friend group on Facebook, in your YouTube thing, in your Instagram. That's where it needs to show. TikTok, that needs to be there.
And Anna, you posted in the chat, I'll do it. You have a great example of one that Richard and I had to help you out with a couple weeks ago, where your tenants almost lost their deposit because of something that the landlord was doing that was kind of fishy. That's a great video for you to talk about.
Oh, there's a lot of horror stories, Scott. I don't know if I should share those.
Hey,
but I have the other ones as well. Yeah.
You got it. You share the good and you share the bad, because on the bad side of things, Anna, you've got to educate people on what they need to look out for and why they should be choosing somebody like you who knows about those things that they need to be looking out for. And then, yes, you're going to share the great things too. But unfortunately, people are way more likely to click on something that is going to scare them than something that is going to make them really happy. It's just naturally the freaks of nature that we all are as humans. We're looking to run away from pain instead of toward pleasure. And if you can show them, here's the 3 things that you're most likely to run into that could screw you out of your deposit when you're buying a home, people are going to click on that, as opposed to here's the 3 most exciting moments about buying a home.
That's exactly right.
I'm going to do it today.
Good.
I've got one of the top agent teams in Atlanta that I coach, and they do these beautiful video things for their database and clients, and they post them on Facebook, and they're excellent. They spend a fortune doing it. But after they do them all, they always, after they've run all the video they posted, they end up posting a bloopers video, and of all the funny outtakes or the things where they stopped or started laughing or whatever it was, or screwed words up or didn't say it right. And without question, the serious videos and the engagement that they get pales in comparison to the blooper videos of all the screw ups that they did trying to film the good ones. Like it's like 3 to 4 times the engagement on the mistake video than the good video. So for everybody who's trying to make this perfect, nobody cares. They do watch the race for the car crash, right? That's what they're watching for. So if you mispronounce a word, or you laugh in the middle of it, or you say something wrong, that's human, and that makes you all the more vulnerable and relatable. Just get it out there and do it one after another, after another, after another, after another, and just mix your topics up, but make sure that you've got a plan to go through. Now, if we're going to talk about AI, we can talk about, you can go into ChatGPT and say, I'm going to do a video on upsizing in real estate. People that want to move from a small house to a bigger house. I need 6 points that I can share in a 30 to 45 second video that I'm going to share with my database about upsizing and the things that they need to be prepared for if they're going to upsize, or the most important things to know if they're going to upsize. See what it gives you. And if you like it, say, create an absolute video script for me, make it professional, a little bit funny, not overly serious, but always professional and relatable, and have that, strike a chord with that tone. And if you give that kind of direction, it'll give you exactly what you ask for. And if you don't like what they've come back with, come back and say, I like everything you just said. Now take out some of the humor, the cheesy humor, and just make it a little bit lighter on the humor. And it'll redo it, and it'll repackage it, and it'll get it exactly the way you want it. And you can go out and read it and memorize it and make a script and go do it. And you can do that for every one of these. If you don't want to just talk off the cuff, give it to AI, tell it what to tell you to say. Once you approve it, turn your video on and go.
And by the way, if you're worried about reading it, there's an app out there called Captions, Captions. And what it will do is it'll keep your eyes focused in the center and make it look like your eyes are right there in the middle of the camera the whole time, even though you're reading the prompt right in front of you. So you don't have to worry about moving up and down and all that stuff. It will keep you in the center of the camera the whole time.
No, I use a different one, but you can be reading off to the side of your computer and looking over here. But when it does, I'm looking straight at you. It's the craziest thing ever.
Yeah. Smart prompt is a good one too. Whether you're doing it off of your PC. It's the app is for both PC and your phone.
Great.
To do it that way as well, for if you need your ChatGPT script up smartphone.
Great. How many people on this call will think that there's enough reason to go and make these videos?
Scott, good?
Yes, for sure.
And I'm assuming if you're raising your hand, that means you're not doing them currently, correct? Good. I mean, I'm telling you, I really think that this could make all the difference in your year, and it could already make all the difference in your next several years in this business. Because what you learn in doing this, by the time we move forward, we are going to find more technology tools, more use for AI, more things that are going to allow us to do what we're already comfortable doing, not yet, but we're going to be. And we're going to get even more comfortable and more effective because of the tools that are going to be presented as this.
Shaun, freeze for y'all too.
Yes, he froze.
Yes.
Oh,
He was so excited
Sorry.
that he just broke the internet for a second.
I'm just telling you, the more I think about this and see what people are doing with it, I just think this is a T-ball waiting to hit to your database, and you guys just need to do it.
There's a couple of people asking how long should the videos be? Start with a minute or less. The average adult's attention span is actually like 3 minutes long. So if you make them 1 minute or less, that's perfect. And the other benefit,
well, and ultimately, you don't want to give them all of the information. Like our tendency is to have a class on a video, right? But that's not the point. The point of this is really just to say, listen, I had a horrible experience with a client that went rogue and did this and almost jeopardized their closing. And I don't want that to happen to anybody. If you're curious about what can create problems in real estate, please reach out to me so this never happens to you.
Yeah. Here's the other benefit with doing them a minute or less. You can put them on TikTok, you can put them on Instagram, you can put them on Facebook, Reels, and you can put them on YouTube Shorts because it meets all of the qualifications for all of those different things if they're 1 minute or less.
There you go.
Also, I just went to Aspire and I watched Kevin O'Leary. He stated under 90 minutes, you have to put your point across to get the highest sales possible.
90 seconds, under 90 seconds.
Yeah, 90 seconds, correct.
Yes, I would agree.
These are also where you try out your material, where you can see what hits and what flops, and then you just keep your greatest hits. It's the same way comedians put a whole show together that sounds natural. They start out with 10 jokes, 9 of them bomb, but one was good. They keep that one. Now let's do 8 more, and eventually you've got a whole show. The short videos are where you find out what people want to hear about and what they don't.
And if you're talking to somebody that you just met at the pool, Tim, and you're saying something and they're having a conversation, you know what? I'll give you all this stuff. But just if you're having trouble sleeping and you want to look up, there's a YouTube, I've got this in a video where I break it down on my thing. And then they get there and go, holy crap, this guy's got a lot of material. And then it just underscores and creates more validity for you in the interaction you had at the pool lead generating.
They're great for search results too. So when you set an appointment and then your person kind of shadow searches you, and the video content's going to be the first thing that Google pulls up because they're connected. When they're just kind of, is this person, let me look them up. And if all of a sudden all your videos show up when they Google your name, that's just more feathers in your cap. They're like, oh, okay, this person's an expert. And generally are satisfied pretty quick, other than looking at ratings and other things. When the video pops up, that's what they're going to watch.
Or Tim, if now they pull up their voice assistant through ChatGPT and say, who is Tim Brooks? It's going to give them the Tim Brooks they're looking for.
And I just downloaded. I can't wait to play with this thing as soon as we're done. I'm hoping
Listen,
it doesn't say I'm an asshole.
The point of the motivating thing for me is if you can just get hyper focused on the motivating reasons for people to buy or sell real estate, and you realize that somebody came to you because they wanted to invest in real estate, or somebody came to you because they wanted to downsize, or somebody came to you because they're an empty nester, or somebody came to you because they're getting a divorce. There's 100 more people with the same motivation out there. There are thousands of more people with the same motivation out there. They're the ones that are sitting on their couch watching Netflix thinking, man, I really need to get off my ass and do something. I need to start thinking about, and all of a sudden you hit them with a video and you show up in their feed and they're like, oh my God, Tim just hit me. That's exactly what I was thinking about last night. And I'm going to call you because that was my sign to go from thought to action on something, and your timing was impeccable.
So, and here's the other thing about that. With each of these videos, if you chose to go and put a little bit of money in advertising behind it to specifically target people who are looking for those things, you would be meeting them literally where they are when they're looking.
Right. That's exactly
the point that I want to give you right now is Jeff Glover. I don't think there's anyone out there that's doing NAR scripts and dialogue better than Jeff Glover. Because if you go today and you search on Google NAR scripts and dialogue for a real estate agent, and that's all you searched for the next 4 days on your Instagram and on your Facebook profile, you're going to be scrolling by ads every single day from Jeff Glover, because he's putting a bunch of money behind the NAR scripts and dialogue that he and his team have created. Why? Because ultimately it will help them to gain more clients. And he's putting that out there as a free resource because he knows that that's what people are looking for in the real estate community right now. So if you were to do those things, I'm not saying go and spend the money on the advertising yet. Go create the content. And then when you want to plus it later, we put a little bit of money that YouTube is already paying you anyways, because you're creating the content behind advertising specifically to where those people are.
I'm a social media advertiser's dream. I mean, if I search something, I know that we were broken into recently, and we had some things stolen from the house and things that I need. And so I started looking, I needed to replace my computer backpack, and I need to replace my computer, but I started searching for like a new backpack for my computer, right? Well, the next thing I knew, I was like, all right, so now I'm just going to sit back. And I figured out pretty quickly that all the backpacks are going to come to me now. Like, I don't have to go anywhere. Like, anywhere in my feed was like, this is a new backpack. This is a company I never heard of that did backpacks. This is our backpack. This is our backpack. And I'm like, this is really amazing. And it's just, it's a testament to the fact that if you raise your hand and you have an interest about anything, if you mention that you're getting a divorce, if you search divorce attorneys, if you do something and you've got one of these videos about how well you handle divorce, and you're spending a couple $100 on clicks for Facebook ads and Google ads for people that actually mention that or search it in any way, shape, or form, you're going to just fall right in their lap as an expert locally. And you determine where they live, how much money they make, the fact that they're interested in divorce and real estate, and that combines all that, and you've now landed right on their doorstep in a freakishly perfect time.
Yeah. And here's the one other thing that I'll encourage you to do when you go out and do these videos that Shaun and I are talking about today on Instagram. When you upload them, where it says location, choose a location, choose Broward County, or choose Palm Beach County, or choose Florida if you're looking to cover all of Florida. But you can be specific with it. The benefit of that is it's going to put your content in front of people who are right there in your neighborhood free. You don't have to pay for that. Same thing with YouTube. Same thing for TikTok. It's going to put that content in front of people who are looking at those things locally.
And if you look at and get the statistics of where people are moving from, most probably you can put your ad in the area where people are moving from to come buy real estate where you are.
Correct.
Whether it's New Jersey or North Dakota or California or Atlanta, you can target the exact same group of people in an area that you know statistically have a high concentration rate of moving to your area.
Yep.
I think this is just one of those things that's just right up under your nose, and it's been here for a long time. And it's an opportunity to find a new gear in your real estate business by leveraging the messages that you guys say all the time to small groups or individuals, when you could be saying what Scott said to 12,000 or 20,000 people. And if he can say it once to, you know, whatever, 70 people or whatever on this call, I don't know, if he can say it once to that, and now say it again to everybody in his sphere, and he does it again tomorrow, and he does it again the next day, and he does it again the next day, just different aspects or different things or things that, you know, it's crazy. But I mean, this is the equivalent of the diet you didn't start, the workout you didn't start, the videos you didn't do when you could have done. If I'd have started my diet 30 days ago, if I'd have gone to the gym since January the way I was supposed to, I would have put on more muscle mass and lost 10. I'd have been doing videos like this for the last 30 days. I'd probably have 5 more closings coming up than I've got right now.
Yeah.
And I truly think video is I think people just should all over themselves. You know, they just, I should do it. I should do it. I should do it. I should do it. Stop shooting over yourself and just get it done. Get it done. And do it consistently. It doesn't have to be prepared. You don't even have to plan it and time manage it in your day. Just at some point in your day, when something strikes you, or you saw something, or you're driving around thinking about, oh, I could talk about that for 30 seconds, then turn your camera on and do it, and then post it and be done and move on.
Shaun, you know, in my phone, I literally have a note and it just says videos. And as soon as I think of something, or I hear something in a podcast that I'm listening to, or something comes up in a reading, and when I'm reading, just drop it in there. And I'm creating the content that I need to go and make videos of. You guys can do the exact same thing.
Yes. Does anybody know who Glenda Baker is? She's in Atlanta. If you look up Glenda Baker with 2 N's, Glennda. I've known Glenda Baker. She and I got in the real estate business together 30 something years ago. And she has reinvented herself several times. But right now, she is one of the top real estate video agents in the country.
Yes. She's huge on TikTok.
She's huge on TikTok. And she just started playing around with it and was like, oh my God, this is legit. And she's now speaking at Inman. She's speaking all over the world. And she's funny as shit. She's very knowledgeable. She's extremely relatable. Her videos are definitely idea givers for those of you that want to do it, but you'll get a sense of kind of how she does it. Now she's got it now where she's got production crews, and she does like 1 or 2 days of filming all of her videos during the month, and then she releases them all month long. Changes her clothes, does all this stuff, and does all the shooting with a professional crew. But she started out with something in a Porsche, pondering in the Porsche, or something in her Porsche, and she just turned her camera on in her car every day and started telling a funny story about real estate or what that was. And it's because of what that's done for her business and what she's done, that little lead generation tool has turned into a massive part of her business that is now being done more professionally. But it wasn't always done that way. It was mostly, all the heavy lifting was done turning on in her car, having a conversation about something. but she's fantastic. She's super funny. She's super smart. She's very relatable, and she does a good job. And if you watch her, you'll probably pick up some great things.
Here's one thing that I'd like to leave you guys with before we wrap up today. You've heard the name, or you may not have heard the name, Ken Pozick, P-O-Z-K. He is in Central Florida in the Orlando area. 80% of his business this year will come from YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and most of it is YouTube. He was challenged by his coach several years ago to make 100 videos in 100 days. And there were some days where he did not know what he was going to make a video about. And he is one of those people that is also a Disney adult. There's crazy people like myself who are those. And on the days where he did not know what he was going to make a video about that had anything to do with real estate content, he would go to Disney World and review a food item or something like that, because he was committed to doing 100 videos in 100 days. And here's the reality. He didn't get any leads for the first 60 videos. He didn't get it for the first 80 videos, but he finally got something on video number 87. He finally had somebody who reached out to him because of the content he was putting out there. I want to remind you this, it may not happen overnight, yet it will happen. Because this year alone, he and his team will close about $360 million in volume, and 80% of that comes directly from the fact that his coach challenged him to do 100 videos in 100 days, and he remained consistent with it. This is the exact same opportunity that you have right now. And guess what? The general consumer is hungry for the information that you have. They're interested in the things that you have to say. And this is our time to redefine the industry by showing the general public we can and we are the trusted people to help them with the biggest financial decision they'll ever make. And your opportunity right now is to show them that you're a great person, you're also human, and you're there to support them in their needs. And you want to show them what it is that you really do. Because unfortunately, the reason we got into the issue, the problem that we're in right now, is the public didn't know what it is that we really do. Go and tell them.
Well, and I think the other glaringly obvious reason to do it is the people in your database, everybody in there probably knows 10 real estate agents. And my guess is all 10 of them aren't doing video. And if you can do this effectively, you can quickly separate yourself from the pack of agents that everybody you know knows just by doing video and creating a video resume and staying in their inbox or staying in their feed with information that relates to them and underscores the fact that they happen to know a really good person in real estate, not just somebody who's in real estate.
Yeah. All right. So what ahas do y'all have? What takeaways do you have from our call today?
I loved how Shaun said, if you don't like the way you sound, too bad. It's exactly how you sound, exactly how you look.
It's true.
And beyond that, just yeah, it clicked with me, the reach and the possibilities of this, not just within your sphere and who you're not communicating with, right? It's free, and there's no other way to reach that many people at once, even if you held a seminar and gave out free tickets and pizza or beer.
Go and get this microphone.
If you say something that's good, you should immediately ask yourself, how many people are hearing what I'm saying? Robert, you're having some issues over there, buddy, with that camera. What's going on?
I wanted to show off the microphone. Go get this microphone. It makes anybody sound amazing.
Oh, look at that. That's your secret?
That's all you need.
I thought you sounded like Minnie Mouse. I was like, oh my God, he doesn't sound like Minnie Mouse at all. Look at that.
He's also got a pretty damn good voice. So,
Yeah,
Frankie,
one of the first things we learn in when it comes to marketing in school is you don't sell, the features, you sell the benefits.
That's
And what's going on now is that, like, I guess, Shaun, today you opened my eyes that we need to be selling to the benefits and not necessarily to the features. So that exercise we did in the beginning was a very good one. So thank you for that.
I'm glad. Well, just let me know when you do it. Let me know feedback. I really want to know that it's working, because as you guys kind of go out and make these videos, and if you get feedback or get something and get leads or as that stuff starts coming in, just start sharing it and encourage it, because it's just I'm extremely passionate about this video thing right now, and I feel like it's just such an opportunity that everybody seems. And it's one of those things. It's, there's a phrase that says what's easy to do is easier not to do. And I think video is probably one of the best examples of what's easy to do is easier not to do.
Thank you. I used to utilize a lot of video at the beginning of my career in real estate, and I've stopped a lot because of life, because of busyness, because of whatever it may be. But my first deal came from Instagram. My first sold home came from Instagram.
Oh my God.
So that's like, but one, starts getting deals from everywhere, and it's kind of hard to concentrate where they're coming from. So, but yeah, I'm going to do a 30-day challenge, see how that goes. I'm going to push myself towards it. So thanks.
Thank you. I'm super excited about that, Anna. Thank you for sharing that. That's awesome. Is anybody not going to do video? If you're not, we won't bug you. If you are, we're gonna keep asking you how your videos are going. And Tim, thanks for sharing your tools, by the way, on that, because while that's a different use of it, it's an impressive use of it, and I think it'll make everybody's life a lot better if they can steal some of those ideas from you.
I originally started doing it because I'm lazy and I hated explaining the same thing over and over and over. I'm like, wow, if I record this, I can do the work once and just have it keep going and stay out there forever and just send them a lead. As soon as you talk to someone with an expired call, follow it up with a text with your video, it'll stand out. And I use it a lot for that too, just to cut through the clutter. But mostly it was because I was lazy, and then let me do the work once and let it just keep working for me, so I don't have to say it again. I'm sorry to hear about your break-in too. I hear maybe Atlanta might be getting a little scary. If you're thinking about moving to South Florida, I'd love to put some buildings down here that might be more suitable.
It might be. It might be. Oh my gosh. Brilliant. Brilliant.
For closers, Tim.
Figured I'd throw that in the conversation.
Well, I think you just created a whole nother video motivation to get the hell out of the crime-ridden city. Get down to the beach. I love it. Well, listen, I look forward to these calls. It's always fun for me, and I hope it's time well spent on your part, and more importantly, time invested, not spent. So hopefully you guys can walk away with some actionable items that make a difference in your business and make you more money. That's the goal.
Appreciate y'all. Have an amazing day. We will see you next time.
Adios, everyone.
Thank you so much.